The federal government is now requesting states to hand over their federal rolls. There's a reason why they want access to look at your voting machines. Folks, this is outside the purview of the federal government. They have no business looking at voting machines. That's a state responsibility. They can ask questions to make sure that there's safeguards in place, sure. But at the end of the day, it is the state that is the responsible party here. The second part of this, and I'd like to get your comments on, is that Trump can't help himself. He's got to talk about the quiet part out loud. He's just got to brag about what they're doing. Oh, yeah, we got 4 states here. We got another 4 or 5. I bet you can guess who they are. And I can tell you that a lot of folks in his orbit are like, man, could you just put the zipper on it, right? Because they don't want the states, those secretaries of states, they don't want folks like yourself getting battle ready, if you will, to deal with this. So to that point, what are some of the battle plans that states can begin to push back on this request by the federal government for their voter rolls, for a review of their voting machines, and to help organize communities in a way to protect their right to vote?
Well, states should absolutely push back on this. There is a federal law, the Help America Vote Act, HAVA, that governs how elections can be administered and the types of machines that should be used. This came out of the 2000 election and the debacle that we had there. And this federal legislation is in place and must be followed meticulously by the federal government and the states. It's too late to try to hide the ball from organizations like LDF in terms of being battle ready. We already have this on our radar and we're ready to defend voting rights. But we need the states to defend their voters as well. And we need voters to stand up and be very vocal about the fact that they want free and fair elections, that they do not want a balance of power in Congress that is fake or fraudulent and not fair. It already is, frankly, because of the level of partisan gerrymandering and racial gerrymandering that infects our Congress. But this is really going way too far to ask about who's on the voter rolls. We know in states like North Carolina, there are already threats to purge voters from the voting rolls on baseless allegations. And those will be litigated. They will be pushed back. But we also have to have voters recognize that they need to hold accountable any elected official that is allowing their voting rights to be abused in this way.
Let me ask you, Janai, first let me underscore what Michael just said there, which is we've been following this story for a few days now. If anyone was connecting the dots based on the reporting, they would see that all roads lead back to this White House, this administration. But the fact you have the President of the United States making it so plain what his intention is, to me, it should turn our attention to then how that changes Democrats' efforts to fight back. You had Hakeem Jeffries today saying all options are on the table. What is to stop Democrats from running a similar playbook?
Well, I would like to think that there's no need to do that. And again, we are nonpartisan. What we care most about is that the will of the voters is reflected in election outcomes when you have voters who have unfettered access to the ballot and they get to vote on fair maps and fair lines. What we're seeing right now is people who actually cannot win based on a majority of the voters' will. They simply can't. And so they need to cheat to win. They need to rig the elections in order to win. But as the saying goes, if you need to cheat to win, you are still a loser. The unfortunate part is that the people who stand to lose the most are American voters, are people who will have laws passed, who will have actions taken, or people who are afraid to act because they are beholden and captured by the president to act on their behalf and to really represent their interests. So American voters will lose the most if we continue to have these sorts of rigged elections and interference in how elections are conducted and who gets to vote.